Who do you call when you need help with some basic tasks around the home? For those who don't have anyone to call, one man has come up with a solution. Rob Kenny from the Seattle area of Washington State has a YouTube channel called Dad, How Do I? He posts videos explaining how to do things from ironing a shirt to changing a car battery. And since he started posting in 2020, he's gained more than 5 million subscribers. I'm Holly Gibbs, and this is the Happy Pod from the BBC World Service. And Rob joins us now. Hi, Rob.
Hi, Holly. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. So could you start by telling us why you wanted to make these videos?
Ultimately, it was during the pandemic that I started it. I thought of it a couple of years before I actually posted anything. And the backstory is that my dad left when I was 14, technically a little bit before that even, but he finally made it official when I was 14. And so I went to live with my brother, and there's just a lot of things that I had to learn the hard way. I married well, and I had two children, and one of my big goals was to raise good adults, not good kids, but good adults, so that they could function in their own lives. And so I tried to include them along the way as they grew up. I tried to have them do stuff with me so they could learn a lot of it right alongside me because I was learning myself. And then when my kids were out of the home, I was a little wondering what to do with myself. I was still a fairly young man and trying to figure out, okay, now what? I think, midlife crisis means different things to different people, but that's kind of where I was at, where I was trying to figure out what to do with myself. And so I thought of this channel, but I didn't really, I kept putting it off. Came up with the name Dad, How Do I? Because I pictured one of my kids in the other room saying, Dad, how do I? And then I'd come fix it. Thought I would help 30 or 40 people and had no idea it would be what it is. And so I'm grateful for that because I'm just trying to walk alongside people and give them encouragement to be able to do things for themselves.
That's good advice. And speaking of good advice, since you help people make things, I here, Rob, have a bookshelf and I need you to help me make it. My dad's at work, so I can't phone him. How would I even begin to build this flat pack bookshelf?
I take it all out, lay it out, take a look at it, familiarize yourself with it. I think that's huge. A lot of people just want to jump in and start pounding it together. So it's good to just assess everything first, especially before you break the box down so you can return it.
Okay, thank you. That's good advice. I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions, and while you're answering them, I might have a go at actually making this. What do your children think of this?
Well, my daughter was a big part of it. She was the one encouraging me to do it. So we still talk pretty much daily. She's been married for 12 years, but we still talk. We have a great relationship. That's one of the things I said on my channel when I first put it up. I said, I'm the father of two adults and we still talk. Yeah. So, and my son, I always tell the story of I called him to make sure he was okay with it because it was terrifying for me. I consider myself an introvert. And so I was having to process it myself, but I thought, boy, I don't want to lose my relationship with my kids over this thing. And so I called my son and he said, Dad, if I was 9 years old and you were doing this and chasing something, he said, I probably have a problem with it, but he said, you did well. So if it's something you want to do, go for it.
And talk to me a bit about the reaction you've had from the fans, because I have a couple of the comments that have been left under some of your videos here. And one of them says, you're the internet dad the world needs. How does that feel to get that response?
I'm grateful for the platform. It breaks my heart a little bit that it's so needed. One of the things that I hope I can do with my channel is to encourage dads to hang in there and, and support each other because we need good dads. We're important. We need good moms, but we also need good dads. So I want to try to make being a dad a cool thing in my nerdy way. I loved being a dad. I still love being a dad. And I think if I can encourage people to realize what a great opportunity they have as dads, boy, I think if I could move the needle at all in that area, I would be grateful.
Your videos as well, they range from things such as how to change a car battery and how to make coffee. And I know you've got as well how to bake a couple of different types of cake on there. Were you conscious that you didn't want to come across as kind of like the stereotypical dad figure, and you also wanted to adopt the more kind of stereotypical motherly tasks as well?
Yeah, one of the big things I try to do on my channel is encourage anybody and everybody to learn how to do everything. I think, why limit yourself? I think it's so important to learn how to do, you don't want to, I hear the story a lot of, oh, my dad didn't teach me how to change a tire because that's a man thing. What if a man's not around? And what if you get a flat tire? You kind of should at least know the steps to figure this out. And I think the same thing for a guy. I hear that too. Oh, I don't know how to cook. My mom always cooked. Well, you probably need to know how to cook. If you're, there might be a time where you need to eat. You can't just rely on fast food. That's not good for you. We need to figure out how to cook. So, and then I talk about money as well. I have Wisdom Wednesdays where I try to pour out some wisdom, because there's so much more to being a dad than just fixing things. You need to understand how to be a good person and how to make wise decisions. And so I think the cool thing about my channel is there's so many things I can do, or that I have learned over the years, but there's so many things that I can help influence people in different areas.
This is probably an impossible question for you to answer, but what is your favorite video of yours that you've ever posted?
Tying a tie, I would say, probably, just because that's where it all began. And, in my innocence, I thought I was just showing people how to tie a tie, but I have comments, and it sounds like you've read the comments. I have people crying or sobbing, they say, watching me tie a tie. And I thought I was just showing somebody how to tie a tie, but, these videos are resonating on a different level that I didn't anticipate.
Are you surprised by that? Because I know the tying a tie one, that was your first video, and it's got something like 4 million views.
Surprised me a little bit. I think I am pretty good at tying a tie, although I don't wear a tie much anymore. But I think I did get pretty good at it. And it's funny because I'll watch newscasters or whatever, and I'm like, that tie is just not, the knot just doesn't look good. I like a symmetrical knot, and there's a different knot that kind of makes it look slanted. So that's something I really noticed. I didn't know. I don't think there's any way I could have known that my videos would be resonating on the level they are. I have people telling me that I had this one gal, this was a comment that really tugged at my heartstrings, was this gal had brain trauma from domestic violence. And so she told me that part of her rehab was to just listen to my videos in the background to help calm her. Again, I'm grateful. I'm a man of faith, and so I'm grateful for the platform that God has given me to be able to try to come alongside people and encourage them, and just try to be a calming voice.
And finally, what would be your one bit of advice for somebody who wants to do something similar to you?
I don't know. I think we all have different gifts, and so I think you got to temper your expectations for, not everybody's going to go viral. I think it was because of the pandemic, because of my backstory, because of everything kind of hitting all at once, kind of made this thing what it is. So I think if you come at it with pure intentions, where you're not trying to be famous, or you're not trying to, make a lot of money or whatever, and if you really sincerely just want to help people, there's going to be people you can reach that I can't reach. There's going to be people that you'll be able to help, because we all just have different gifts, and you'll be able to do your own thing, to be able to carve out your own niche.
That's great advice. Thank you so much, Rob, for speaking to us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for watching this video. If you want to hear more stories like this one, just search for The Happy Pod on BBC Sounds or wherever you get your podcasts from.